Hey, great morning, great morning. I decided to do this video today because we make time for what's important and we make excuses for everything else. I had a good friend who asked me why I wasn't doing the videos anymore. And I immediately started thinking about the things that I usually have to do in the morning. And I said, well, I just wasn't able to put the time to commit. And as I was saying that, I started thinking about what I tell literally everyone else, whether it's health, business, whatever. Every 15 minutes counts, every 10 minutes counts, right? So I started thinking about that and I realized that I can do these videos. They may not be as lengthy as they were before, and they may not be all, laid out or whatever. But last night I was going to bed, and this is why this came on my heart today, because I was like, you know what? I need to just do some videos on this. So I'm going to see how this goes. I'm not going to commit to anything, but I'm going to come on here and at least go through some of these things that I was writing out last night. Based on a session that I had, I was told that I'm courageous. And it was kind of crazy because when that was said, I immediately said, this is the first time I've been able to have courage. And when I said it, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if those were my exact words, but it came out kind of like that. And the other person said, well, that would be an interesting thing to hear about. And I said, well, maybe it's another book. I have a lot of book titles, and I will get to where I'll be writing them. But this one came to me, and I may actually start on this one before the others. We'll see how it goes. So I've been really big on acronyms, and that's where C came from: support, encourage, and empower, right? So you can go to the jodywatkins.com website and get your gear to support that if you are one of those people who understand the meaning behind that. We are meant to support, encourage, and empower. We are meant to do more. And when we actually get to the point where we allow ourselves to do more, it's a pretty good feeling. So I started writing out the acronym COURAGE last night. And the first word that came to my mind when it comes to overcoming and learning how to heal through our pain was something that I thought that I did very well, and that was compartmentalizing. So the C in courage, the word that came to mind first was compartmentalization. So this morning, I would like to go over that just a little bit and tell you what that means. All right. According to Psychology Today, compartmentalization is a defense mechanism where people mentally separate conflicting thoughts, emotions, or experiences to avoid the discomfort of contradiction or hurt or showing hurt. Now, those are my words, but that's what it was. I learned in an early age not to talk about things that were going on inside the house. I learned to keep a smile on my face no matter what was going on around me. So I learned very early on how to compartmentalize. Okay. It says that uncomfortable state is called cognitive dissonance, and it's one that humans try to avoid by modifying certain beliefs or behaviors or through strategies like compartmentalization. It says defense mechanisms are unconscious strategies whereby people protect themselves from anxious thoughts or feelings. Other prominent defense mechanisms include denial, repression, and projection, among others. It says the concept was developed by Sigmund Freud and his daughter Anna Freud. Although many Freudian theories have been disproven over time, psychologists still believe that defense mechanisms are a valid construct. It does go on to say that compartmentalization isn't always negative. Sometimes it says sometimes you need to put one conflict or aside to the side in order to tackle another challenge. So that is true. If you think about well, I'll speak about mine. If I think about my daily grind, whatever you want to call it, I'll have a plan laid out, but every now and then things come in, right? Actually, more often than not, things come in. So, and thinking about our day as we go forward into it, sometimes we do have to push back emotion, or, what if you just left your house, something came up, and now we have to go put on a new hat, right? We're not going to always take what we dealt with in the morning with us where we go, right? We have to learn how to separate those things. Well, that's a form of compartmentalizing. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative thing. What I will say about that, though, is it's okay to not take those things with us when we go into a new place. It's not okay to never address them. Okay? They're not just going to disappear. I promise you, I thought that they would until my 40s and realized that no, that's not how it works. So suppressing feelings is not necessarily the best way to do it, as long as, just depending on the situation, but just don't suppress them for too long. Talk to someone, have a trusted person that you can talk to, because you're not just going to be able to sweep it under the rug. Eventually it's going to pile up no matter what it is. If it's little things, yeah, maybe you can kind of get rid of those and then press forward, but those little things start adding up. Okay, so again, I can say that from personal experience. It says, in the aftermath of trauma, people sometimes hold conflicting ideas in their mind. Trauma, as well as addiction, can lead to a psychic architecture build of walls, closets, and closed doors, so that thoughts or experiences can be kept in different rooms. A therapist can help the patient understand why their experiences or beliefs are separate and how to connect them to move forward. This was what I had to work through in EMDR last year. I had so many things that were separate, and I didn't understand why they were coming out, like what they're talking about here, the projection. When we hold things in and we learn to compartmentalize and we learn to suppress, those thoughts and emotions and feelings are going to come out one way or the other. That's called projection, right? Because we may not mean to be a certain way or say certain things to people, but we're projecting our own internal battles, right? So that's called projection. So we're actually projecting onto other people. For me, I had to make a decision that I did not desire to be like that. And I also had to have good people around me who turned in the mirror around on me and let me know what I was doing. Because if the people around you aren't willing to say something to you, to me, I'm trying to change my words, but if they weren't willing to say something to me, I wasn't going to be able to change because I was not aware, which is the A in courage. We'll get there. Not today. Anyways, I just wanted to go over that just a little bit. Like I said, the word that came to me for the C was the compartmentalization. And I hope that this has been a little bit enlightening and has helped anyone out there just to kind of learn how to understand themselves. Understanding is the U in courage. And again, we'll get there. But all of these words kind of tie together and allow us to be who we're meant to be if we're willing to face them, if we're willing to address them, if we're willing to ask someone to help us. It's always better to have 2 or 3 minds than just trying to figure it out on our own. especially if we're dealing with, like I said, like trauma or just things that we've dealt with in the past. It's great to have, a trusted professional in our corner that we feel comfortable with talking to and that can help us through these things. All right, so don't be afraid to ask for help. It's okay to not be okay. And don't just keep suppressing, because one way or the other, it's going to have to come out. Okay. So, went over compartmentalization and what it is, how it works out in our mental health. And I also want to, since I'm on here, I want to make sure that I read from today's devotional because it's been a while. So today is October 13th. It says, giving God our wholehearted obedience. God's truth. King Rehoboam firmly established himself in Jerusalem and continued to rule. He was 41 years old when he became king, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem. But he was an evil king, for he did not seek the Lord with all his heart. And that's from 2 Chronicles 12, verse 13 and 14. It says, while reading this morning in 2 Chronicles 12, I reflected on Rehoboam, a son of Solomon who became king of Judah. Although, I'm going to say although R accomplished some good things, I felt sad when I read that he abandoned the law of the Lord and all Israel followed him. A whole nation may not be watching and following me, but my children are. That motivates me to obey God wholeheartedly. And then it says, the prayer is, Father, please give me the strength to obey you with my whole heart. I want to be a good example to my children. Amen. I like that because I was actually telling someone the other day that the main person who made me want to be better and do better is my kid. And so I think that it has to be a motivator in everything that we do for those of us who are parents. For anyone who's not a parent, just remember that people are watching and kids are watching everywhere, right? Everywhere you go. So be a good example for those people around you. And what I'm learning is even on days where you're not really feeling, or I'm not really feeling the greatest, I still have the ability to inspire others. So just keep doing what you're doing. The courage will come, and we all have the ability to have courage. God bless you and have a great day.